Hey everybody, it's Marla K again. If you saw me earlier with the same clothes on, it's because I did 2 videos today. So I apologize for being messy and doing the outfit twice, but that's fine. I had a little free time today, so I decided to do 2 videos back to back. And for the second video, for the first video I talked about the changes in the black media. So if you haven't seen that video, you can go back to my channel and check it out. But it's just basically telling you about watching out for the shuffling that is happening with the mainstream media and that their numbers are dropping. So if you haven't checked that one out, go ahead and do so. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it if you see fit. Um, I try to provide good content that other people may or may not be talking about, but also with a twist. So for this particular video, I'm going to talk about grandfathering. And grandfathering, if you don't know what that is, it is when America makes you white and allows you to move from your buffer class status or your black status, and they allow you to be white. You act as white, you can pretend you're not white. um, a lot of times, like a lot of Jewish people do, they'll say, I'm not white, we're Jewish, but then you look all around and you see white people, you don't know who's who, and they're all acting, moving the same way on code, anti-black, or at least quiet on the black part when it comes to our oppression and issues. So I want to talk about that in this situation with the Miami Dolphins new coach, um, and his inability to explain away his connection to blackness, but the lack of blackness, and how um, white supremacy is changing the game when it comes to what black is and what black isn't. And they're kind of doing the same thing they did when they grandfathered in Italians and Jewish people and the Irish and Asians and all these other groups that they allow now to be white or to check the white box. They don't have to be anything, his same with Hispanics, Cubans, everybody can turn white or be white except for black people. And if your skin ain't the right color and your hair texture is not like mine, so I have relaxed in my hair now, but if you don't have the curly hair, same texture hair texture that we do, without processing, you have the possibility to become white. And that, I don't know what you call it. It's a punishment for a little while, and then if you prove yourself worthy, they allow you to move over into this different status. And when you become grandfathered into whiteness, you get all the privileges that white people have if you can pass, as long as you don't screw up, or until they want to um, revoke that privilege from you. And the prime example is Jewish people. Yeah, um, people love to hate on Jews, but Jews were also received honorary whiteness. And once they receive that honorary whiteness, they walk in it, they move in it, they go throughout society and create systems and do things just like white people do. They work alongside with white people to keep certain groups oppressed. But as soon as you mention anything about Jewish people, they go back and start talking about the Holocaust. They ignore the piece where they were grandfathered into whiteness and what that means. And so, there's we're having this whole conversation now about grandfathering, and they're conversations that we've always had amongst our, each other and our collective group. But we, for the first time in my generation, we are allowed to talk about it now. So I'm excited. I'm like, yes, because we've been saying this stuff forever, and people have not really Either we haven't been able to talk about it outside of our collective groups, or we have been ignored and silenced and told not to talk about our differences. And people want to treat us like we are a monolith when we are not. All people who are minorities are not oppressed, and all people who um, you know get to be in this group with us, they don't necessarily want to be in this group with us. They um, can switch up. They can be a grandfather person and be white, and then when it suits them, they can claim to be black or something else. And so this coach with the Miami Dolphins was a classic example of that. So I'm going to talk about that for a little bit today. So I'm going to share my screen. I also wrote a piece about it on Medium, so you can read about it once this video is over. I'll put the link in the description for you, along with this piece on this coach. So this coach, Mike McDaniels, let me move this box, can be great. The Dolphins organization can be great. So basically, this article is on Yahoo. Gosh, I'm crazy today. It's on Yahoo. It's published February the 10th. So this is the coach of the Miami Dolphins. His name is Mike McDaniel. He says that his father is black. Now, I don't know about y'all, but this man ain't hardly got no black nowhere. Now, I know DNA be doing some things sometimes, and he's, just, it does some things. But he is not a black man. Look at his hair. Look at his nose. He looks like a white Hispanic or Hispanic person whose mother made it with somebody white, or she has white in her lineage, like she was white and Hispanic and she claims Hispanic. And then, wherever this black man is, I would like to see a picture of him. He's not come forward yet, and so we are still questioning his blackness. But why his appearance and why him saying who he is and his connections to blackness is important is because the NFL terminated the previous head coach, who's I think his name was Flores. I can't think of his name, but I'm gonna type it in and see if I can get it to come up. Okay, here it is, Brian Flores. So Brian Flores was the head coach for one season of the Miami Dolphins. Now, I didn't know they had a coach. I don't watch football anymore. I've been boycotting since Kaepernick, so I haven't watched the NFL game, and I can't tell you when. Probably 3, 4, maybe almost 5 years, but I haven't watched much of professional sports, period. But this was the coach, and I'm going to see if I can find a better picture. But anyway, I want to tell you about Flores. So Flores was raised in Brownsville, a section of Brooklyn, New York, to Honduran parents. So his parents are Honduran, but he's black. So he's an Afro Honduran, or a black person. And we can see he's, black for all intended purposes. He's a black Hispanic, but he's black. And so when you see him, if somebody said he was Honduran, they question the Honduran, and they'd immediately in America see that he's black, because that is our racial caste system or whatever. So let's see. They don't have any good pictures here. I'm gonna go back out and see if I can find a good photo of him. Okay, so he looks very much like a black man. That's Brian Flores. And the Miami Dolphins terminated him, for whatever reason, and he's suing. Well, they fired him for a performance, but he's saying that they told him basically to lose games on purpose, and then once he lost the games, and did what they told him to do, they fired him. So he's suing for racial discrimination. And so, his allegation was there was at the time only one black head coach, I think, that was the coach for Pittsburgh Steelers, Mike Tomlin. And so now they hurried up and they got Lovie Smith, who used to be the coach of the Chicago Bears, I think. And he hadn't coached in the NFL, and I can't tell you how long. But they got him to come and coach for the Houston Texans. And then they get this racially ambiguous coach for the Miami Dolphins. This dude, and says he is black. Or he says he's black and Latino, but he's a human being. And it was really problematic. Black people were like, wait a minute, what? That's a typical white person's view of race. So that is, kind of what he said. And then everybody was like, okay, well, where's the father? And so people have like really been talking about this because he got his job because he was able to claim that he was Latino and black, but he presents white. And so when you look at him, you don't see a, you could, if you live here in South Florida, or you live in New York or someplace where you have a lot of white Hispanics, you see, this type of person who, if you know white Hispanics, it's a white Hispanic. But if you're not familiar with white Hispanics, then you wouldn't really know, who he was. And when you're talking about giving away jobs or selecting people to be more diverse and inclusive in your organization's hiring, when you have people like this who are racially ambiguous, then it's problematic because these people are saying, hey, I'm associated with these two groups or a group. But then when you go back to how they benefit, this person has been grandfathered basically into whiteness. And when you look at him, you can't tell. So when we're competing now against these different groups who've been grandfathered, we're going to be competing with a whole lot of people who claim to be something, um, and we don't really have any proof. And it's going to complicate things because these people can straddle the fence. They can be a minority and oppressed when it suits them, but they can also be white when they need to be and when they're allowed to be, and white supremacy accepts them. So, I just want to talk about, I'm going to show you some pictures of this guy. That's him. I don't see no black, no place. I don't know about y'all. No black features nowhere. Here you go. Don't look like no black person to me. Nope. 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 And no, no. So black man who says he has a black pappy. Black man who says his father is black. And this is the person that the NFL chose to hire as the coach to replace Flores, to be like, we got a minority, so shut up. But if you look at this guy, you wouldn't know. You know, he fits in perfect for the Miami-Dade County um, vibe, because we have a lot of white Hispanics here. They don't even claim to be Hispanic. They say that they're white. So this whole racially ambiguous time that we're in, we need to really pay attention to it if you're black, because these are the people that they are going to be using to justify racism now. So they're going to have their minority, but they're also going to have the person that says, "Oh, well, I have a connection to this oppressed racial group, and so I fit the bill." So, you know, you'll have the NFL and the government, and the Democratic Party has been doing it too. If you pay attention to the last couple of election cycles, national and local, they've been doing the same thing. So, you know, I just want to talk about grandfathering, you know, hip you to what is happening. And it's the reason why you're seeing all the interracial ads. It's why you're seeing all of the um, ploys for diversity, but it is a way for white people to keep keep their numbers up. They did the same thing, I said, with the Jewish people. They did the same thing with the Irish. They did the same thing with the Italian. If you can come in and pass as white, you can come in and be white, and you can have the same privileges and participate in the same anti-blackness, and benefit doubly from your white privilege and the privilege of being a minority. So, you know, as African American person, we are dealing with a whole lot of new things that are happening, and you know, we didn't live through the time when the Jewish and the Irish and the Italian were grandfathered into whiteness, but and Europeans, you know, other Europeans that immigrated here, that they allowed to come here, they came here solely for the purpose of helping white people outnumber the number of enslaved people, freed people, especially in the South. But as people migrated from the South all over the country, they placed these different immigrant groups in different places to counter the growing numbers of black people. So this grandfathering, it has everything to do with keeping white supremacy alive and keeping black people as the permanent buffer, not buffer, but as the permanent lower caste in our social hierarchy. So I just want to talk to you about um, you know, the grandfathering. Pay attention to what it is. Pay attention to where you're seeing it, because you've been seeing it in politics, but now you're starting to see it, you know, evolve into advertisements, you know, for cars, for food. Here it is going into sports, and it's going to impact our ability to get jobs. And this is a perfect example. This hiring of this coach in Miami. They had a black coach. The coach alleged racial discrimination. So what do? They go get a minority coach who says he's Hispanic and black, but looks white, presents white, has a white wife, lives a white life. And so when you know, that's the game that white supremacy plays. And so we are going to be shut out of a lot of opportunities now, because they can use these racially ambiguous, biracial people who are able to straddle the fence and be white when it's convenient, and be black or whatever they are when they want to be or need to be oppressed, or when they need to be in a different class to help out somebody white who's in a jam. So that's my spiel today, just about grandfathering, why it's important. I'm going to put a link to my latest piece in this descriptions, so that you can read about it, why it's important, and how it is going to impact us. But basically, grandfathering does not help us. It harms us. So Black people need to be aware of it. You also need to be talking to your family members, your children, or whatever, because it's going to be a problem, and it's going to be, we're competing with a lot of different people for job opportunities, and so everybody's pushing this, oh, let's come together, let's love each other, race doesn't matter. Race always matters. So people that tell you that race don't matter are the people who are at the top of the social hierarchy or in a buffer class who gets to also be anti-Black. But race always matters to us, most of us. There are some Black people who say race doesn't matter, but they're fooling themselves. They're not fooling anybody else, because race always matters. In America, it matters. So pay attention to the grandfathering that's happening, because it's going to be everywhere. You're going to see it explode on television. It's exploding in politics. It's exploding on jobs. You thought it was hard being Black and finding a job. Now they're showing you what the playbook is, and so you need to pay attention and be ready for that, and you need to be prepared to counter it. Um, and I don't know what the correct way to handle it. A lot of people have been calling out, Flores's, I'm sorry, not Flores's, McDaniels's um, uh, allegations. Like, okay, well, you say you have a Black dad, let us see it. Let us see him. Where's the pictures? See, he doesn't hardly have any pictures online. You go through the pictures, he doesn't have hardly any family pictures. Let me see. That's Flores. So when you look at McDaniels, let's see. That is his daughter. The little girl is not showing that she has Black nobody. Um, let's see. And those are some different Mike Flores's. But I just wanted to make the point that this man is saying that he's a Black father, but he's not moving or living a life that demonstrates, he's a part of the class, the bottom caste of the American system. And a lot of minorities have done that. A lot of, people like Mike McDaniel, their parents have, married white people, or their parents were Hispanic. They marry somebody white, and then they teach their children to do the same thing. And then before you know it, um, you have white people who don't even identify the Black part of their lineage. And so, here we are trying to navigate race and have conversations about race, and then white supremacy changes the game, and they grandfather in a bunch of new people. So, white Hispanics are the next group to be grandfathered into whiteness, and there are a lot of them, and a lot of biracial people. Now, biracial people get to pick and choose what they want to be, and a lot of them are choosing to be white. So, they'll say, well, I'm Black and whatever the other thing is, but the other thing that makes them whiter is what they rely on to get a pass through society. And so if an employer that is white or Hispanic or some other discriminatory from some other discriminating group, when they have the opportunities to discriminate, they will. And then when you have someone that is, foundational Black American or an African American, descendant of slaves, um, compared to a racially ambiguous person who has different lineages but can pass as white, they're going to pick that passing person every time now. And that's what's the jig. And black people need to understand it and be ready for it, because that's the new jig. Is we are um headed down a road that's going to be really confusing. So you need to prepare your family. You need to talk to your children, um, because the other piece is that when you participate in this, you're helping white supremacy stay alive. White people are doing this so that they can stay alive and stay in power. They need us to participate. And so when we participate, whether it's through bedroom colonization, whether it's through um, you know dating, whether it's through however, they have an agenda to keep themselves alive. And so if you're countering white supremacy, you can't counter white supremacy and participate in these types of things. They seem innocent and simple, but it's not innocent, and it's not as clean cut and simplistic as they like to make it sound. So just govern yourselves accordingly. And if you understand, if you're not countering white supremacy, you're participating in it at all times. So don't help them. We're trying to get free. We're not trying to remain tied in bondage. I don't want to do that. So I'm sharing these things with you because these are, we talk about racism and white supremacy a lot, but we don't talk about the things that we do individually to contribute to it. And this is one of the ways when we um, are not clear about lineage, when we people like to talk about mixed races, um, and I'll have to do another story on mixed races, and this ties to eugenics. As a matter of fact, I'm just gonna added to this video. So I'm going to pause it and do the piece on the eugenics so you can understand how um, eugenicists have not wanted to mix races until it was convenient for them. So I'm just going to do another video. I'll do another video, not today. I may do it today. But anyway, I need to connect the dots because I don't want people to be like, oh, she's so xenophobic, or oh, she's so racist. I am trying to show you how white supremacy works, how white supremacy evolves, and how it keeps black people at the bottom of the cast, um, unless it's beneficial to them. So there are certain types of people, they feel that race mixing is okay so that they can keep their numbers high and they can stay in power. So that's what it's all about. So be mindful of grandfathering. You're going to watch it because you're going to see a lot of it, and I want you to be aware of it. So don't forget to like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed this content, and I will talk to you next time. Thank y'all.